In this episode of Unboxing with a Rocket Scientist, we're going to take a look at the Zephyr Junior rocket kit.
There are many unboxing videos for model rockets, but wouldn't you like a real rocket scientist's opinion of the materials and parts in the kit? Today you'll actually find out the inside information so that you know what to look for when you get a rocket kit.
Hi, I'm Tim Van Milligan, and yes, I am a real rocket scientist. And we're going to unbox the Zephyr Junior rocket kit to kind of figure out what you're going to get if you were to purchase this kit. First off, what you notice is it's in a plastic bag, and it has a nice 4-color insert on the inside to tell you what this rocket's going to look like. Now, the Zephyr Junior is actually a smaller version of the Apogee Zephyr, which is a 4-inch diameter kit. Now, this rocket is a lot smaller than that. It's about a half scale, so it's half the size of the big one. So as you open it up, what you're going to notice is the tube. This is about a 2.2-inch tube, where the real Zephyr, the bigger one, the high-power version one, is 4 inches in diameter. So it's almost, it's a little bit bigger than half the scale. And it also comes with a 5-to-1 ogive, 5-to-1 ogive plastic nose cone. Now this is a polystyrene plastic nose cone, so it's nice and hard. It's the same shape as the larger one. You can see it's nice and strong. It's got this big hairy loop on the back to attach your parachute and your shock cord. The difference on this one is it has these 2 raised ribs on the front end. Now that is because we also sell this nose cone separately, and in other kits, like our LexJet rocket kit, you'd actually cut the tip off to make it into a boat tail, and these 2 rings tell you where to cut off. So if you wanted a 24mm engine mount, you'd cut it off at the smaller one, and if you wanted a 29, you'd cut it on the bigger one. So that's why there's ribs there. But the ribs you can sand off. You can take a hobby knife, you can just, scrape them off, and then finally sand them off, and they'll come off pretty easy because it is a hard plastic. These are really easy to paint as well. Paint sticks to polystyrene really good, so you don't have to worry about your paint flaking off. This is a thin wall tube, and you can see the fit is really nice in there. And it's got a nice smoothness across it, like it should have. So that's good. Okay, so let's get other things inside the kit here. Whoa, dropping things. We dropped a centering ring down there on the floor, so let me get that in just a second. Okay, so the bag is empty. Okay, so here's the face card, is what it's called, and it tells you what rocket engines you can fly it with. Now this rocket can take a lot more than what's on here. So you'll actually come to the Apogee website, and on the Apogee site there's a list of recommended motors, probably about 30 of them. So this kit can use a lot of different rocket engines. Down here is the required tools and materials, and then optimal tools down here at the bottom. And then inside here we have the instruction sheet. This is an 6-page instruction sheet, and so on the cover is what the rocket will look like. This is the list of the parts that are inside, so when you get your kit, compare it against this parts list. And also the tools and the optional materials you'll also find here on the front cover. And then on the inside is the actual assembly steps. And you can see there's a lot of good illustrations here to make sure that you can put the rocket together without any problem. This is actually a skill level 3 kit, which is an average skill level rocket. So you shouldn't have too many problems figuring it out. So that's the instructions. The other big thing that you'll notice is the vinyl decal. So like the big Zephyr, this one also has vinyl decals. So vinyl is a plastic, so what this allows you to do is they can get wet. And we actually recommend putting them on your rocket with soapy water. You just take a bowl of water and some little dish soap, mix it in there, get it a little slippery. And then you can only do this on a painted rocket. You can't do it on an unpainted rocket because you put water on a paper tube and you know what's going to happen. But once it's painted, the paint protects the tube and you can get it wet to a degree. You can't let the paint get over the edges because then it could get on the inside. So you could do it quick. And then by doing with soapy water, it allows you to reposition the decals so you can get them on really in the right locations, nice and crisp. These are the fins. These are basswood fins. They're not balsa wood. Now, basswood is an American wood that's grown in the United States, so it's a domestic wood. It's got a really tight grain, so it's a little bit more dense than balsa wood, but it's also a lot smoother, and so this is going to be a lot easier to finish. Now, this kit, you can see there's more than just 3 fins on this rocket like you see on the face card. That's because the rocket has a little cutout here at the tip, and it also has a very sharp tip at the bottom of the fin. And to make sure that that fin is protected, the wood grain direction on that tip is oriented differently from the wood grain on the fin. And then there's a little tip plate right here that creates that nice little cutout in the fin. And that cutout is purely decorational. It doesn't make the rocket fly better or worse. Well, it'll actually make it fly worse because it's going to add a little bit more drag, but it gives the rocket a little bit of extra appeal. So this is basswood. Also in the kit, you're going to get a Kevlar shock cord. Now this is 300-pound Kevlar, so this is heavy-duty stuff. So this is to make sure that your nose cone doesn't separate from your body tube. The centering rings in this kit are cardboard, which is plenty strong for a kit like this. You're only going to fly it probably up to an F motor. You know, you can go from a C to an F. So there's a lot of different choices that you have. This particular ring right here is not needed. Again, this is another item that we use in other kits. So that's why it's included in here, even though you're not going to use it. This kit also comes with a cardboard display stand. That's because the rocket, it will stand upright on its own, but those 3 little fins that have the points on them, it's going to make that rocket kind of rock around a little bit. You know, it will settle down, but you know, while it's finding its center, it's going to want to tip over. So having a nice display stand is a nice feature. It also comes with a large plastic parachute, and this is your typical plastic parachute. This is your engine mount tube right here. This will take, again, from C engines, 24 millimeter diameter C11s, all the way up through F engines. It doesn't come with an engine mount or an engine hook. You know, some kits come with that metal engine hook. This one doesn't. And so the reason for that is it gives you more versatility. So now you can use longer rocket engines. And that ring that I dropped on the ground right here, this is not a thrust ring. This is actually a ring to anchor the shock cord, because these cardboard rings right here, you could actually pull the shock cord out. But with this ring right here, it anchors it really nice and tight, so you don't have to worry about it. This right here is your 1/4-inch launch lug. So this is going to fly off a mid-power pad, 1/4-inch diameter launch rod, probably about 5 feet long, which would be a good launch rod for that. Also in the kit is shroud lines for your parachute, and this is cotton string. This is heavy-duty cotton. Which makes for a really nice strong parachute, and it's also a lot easier to tie a knot in. I don't know if you ever tried to tie a knot in really thin string. It really helps to have thicker string, and that's why we use it in the Apogee kits. And then these rings right here are reinforcement rings, and they go on the corners of the parachute. Now this parachute is pretty large. It's a 32-inch diameter parachute, so it's probably way overkill for this rocket. You might consider cutting a spill hole in the middle of it so that it comes down faster. You can also reef the parachute, which is basically you have the shroud lines coming down, and they come down to an apex point at the bottom. But if you take some masking tape and you kind of pinch off the shroud lines closer up to the canopy, that's called reefing the parachute. And again, that's so that the parachute can fall faster. So if you don't want to cut a hole into your parachute, and if it's drifting too far, that's what I would recommend, just reefing the parachute. It's pretty simple to do, just a piece of masking tape around it. So That is the Apogee Zephyr Junior rocket kit. You'll find it at the Apogee website. The web address is www.apogeerockets.com. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below on YouTube. Once you do, it's going to have a little bell next to it. And that bell is for notification, so that when we release a new video, you'll get an email, not from us, but from Google and YouTube. And they'll send you an email and say, hey, Apogee has produced a new video. You might want to go and watch it. So thank you again for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, go ahead and put those down in the comments down below. So thanks again for watching.